Welcome, dear listener, to Season 2, Episode 7. Tonight we discuss the oldest currency known to tyrants. Not gold, not oil, not power, but fear. Fear. It is the invisible chain, the leash so light it feels like breath. Until you try to run. It does not need guards, it does not need guns. It only needs your imagination and your compliance. Fear, you see, is the most obedient of currencies. It prints itself in the silence between headlines. It multiplies with every whisper in the dark. And best of all, it spends itself freely. Across borders, across generations, across your own mind. They sell you fear like a product, a campaign, a prescription. Terrorism, invasion, contagion, immigrants, viruses, hackers, protesters, thoughts. There's always a new ghost in the hallway, a new shadow behind the curtain, a new reason to duck your head and thank them for the cage they built around you. Because when you're afraid, you don't ask questions. You ask for more guards, more gates, more rules, more surveillance, more lies, if they come with the promise of safety. But let's examine the real exchange, shall we? They give you fear, you give them freedom, they give you panic. You give them permission, they give you a threat. You give them your children's future, signed in ink and digital leash. This is how fear is monetized. This is how it becomes law. This is how nations are tamed, not with war, but with warning labels. You don't need a dictator if you fear what might happen. You'll police yourself, your friends, your speech, your thoughts, all in the name of safety. Consider the modern state. The cameras are always on, but you feel no bars. The borders are drawn, but you mistake them for fences of protection. The media screams catastrophe, and you beg for control, not from them, but from yourself. You take their handcuffs, thank them for their concern, and ask for tighter locks. You do not live in a prison. You wear one. They've used fear to justify everything. Wars without end. Budgets without accountability. Technologies that track your every move. Emergency powers that never quite expire. Silence disguised as civility. And you were convinced you were brave because you obeyed. They made fear patriotic. They made submission a virtue. They made courage a crime. But let me offer a heresy. Fear is not evidence of danger. It is the byproduct of manipulation. They show you images without context. They flash statistics like blades. They cherry-pick horrors and stitch them into a tapestry of panic. A single outbreak becomes the end of the world. A protest becomes an uprising. A refugee becomes a threat. A truth becomes terrorism. And all the while they smile on your screen, soft-spoken shepherds herding you into cages built not of steel, but of suggestion. And yet, despite the blaring sirens, the 24-hour hysteria, the breathless warnings, here you are, still standing, still breathing, still human. That's the secret they never want you to realize. You've already survived every nightmare they've conjured. You've already lived through the terror they packaged. You've already proven that courage is not the absence of fear, but its rejection. And so we return to the weapon they fear most, not guns, not protest signs, not encrypted chats, but defiance, a mind that refuses to be ruled by panic, a voice that names the lie not as conspiracy but as currency, and a soul that remembers, you were not born to be safe, you were born to be free. So what now? Look around. Name the fear. Trace it to its seller. Ask who profits. Ask who cowers. Then dare to walk beyond its reach. Turn off the news. Step outside. Speak the forbidden. Hold the unclean. Question the sacred. Because fear feeds on isolation, and courage is contagious. They can't sell what you won't buy. They can't silence what you won't hide. They can't win if you remember what they want you to forget. That every great act of liberation, every rebellion worth its blood, every revolution that ever mattered was born not in safety, but in the space between fear and action. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 7. They sold you fear, you bought it. Now, return it, and demand something rarer. Truth, dignity, dangerous, irrepressible freedom. Until next time, this voice in the shadows reminds you, the leash only tightens when you pretend it's not there. But the blade, oh yes, the blade still cuts, and courage still frees. Even now, even here, even you.